Hello everyone, right over here is the all-new Bentley Continental, and this is a very interesting moment because now we're seeing a new chapter for the Bentley brand. And there are reasons why I call this a new chapter, because of the way they've abandoned something about their previous design and how they've employed something very different for this new Continental, and the differences lie at the front in particular. Now make sure to watch this video till the end, because I am going to be covering the exterior, the interior, and throughout the video I will be talking about my perspective of the Bentley Continental, and I will also be talking about the Bentley Continental model in general. Competitors are the likes of the Aston Martin Vantage, the Mercedes AMG GT, the McLaren models, also do have the Porsche model 911. Now, most of those competitors which I've just mentioned lean more to the sporty side of things, with one exception, I'd say, being the Aston Martin Vantage. The Aston Martin Vantage is basically a bridge between classy and sporty. This Bentley Continental leans very much into the classy aspect of things. And then, of course, we cannot forget the Maybach SL. That's right, the all-new Mercedes Maybach SL. I had the pleasure of seeing it, and if I'm going to be honest, at first glance, it was beautiful. It was very inspiring. But then as soon as I saw the interior, the steering wheel is the exact same thing you'd see in a normal SL. I want to start by talking about the exterior design of the Bentley Continental. So it's very interesting how they've played it evolutionary. This is the most Volkswagen Group thing. They play it evolutionary, and I respect that. It's really good. Just the design is great. The headlights were something that did put me off a bit, but it was fine. I'm quite impressed with how they've wanted to go down the route of simplicity, like most cars of today. Now, if I'm being honest, I'm not a fan of what they did with this headlight, but I can understand an evolution was required. They abandoned the theme of having two headlights, well, two lightings at the front, well, whereas the small one would be the side indicator and the big light would be the main headlight. Now, Bentley has resorted to something like this. I have to wonder, was it necessary putting the 360-degree parking camera at the front like this at the middle? Wouldn't it be better to hide it maybe on the side, like above or beneath? Because putting it on the middle makes it look like an afterthought, and from a distance it doesn't look interesting seeing this mesh grille a bit busy over here. But otherwise it does look fine. Not everyone's going to pay attention to this detail. Now, towards the side of the Bentley Continental, we notice a British coupe style to it. Like, looking at it, it reminds me of British coupes from the 1970s and 80s, like that of Jaguar, that of certain Bentley models, and then Rolls-Royce as well, especially how they have a build over here. This was very common in the 1970s and 80s. They would always have a build over here. And this was not isolated to British luxury car manufacturers. This was also a case for American car manufacturers, because what would happen was they would always have a wheel skirt. So a wheel skirt is when the bodywork covers the rear wheel. This was very common back in the 60s until the 80s. So this is why there would be a bit of a build over here. Over here you have a 22-inch 10 swept spoke wheel. Now, if I'm being honest, I prefer this better, because this looks nicer. It has more presence from a distance. Towards the rear, it's the exact same concept as the previous generation, except they got rid of the chrome that would surround the rear lights. And of course, to open the rear door, you have to push the Bentley badge and then the door opens. It's the most Volkswagen Group thing ever, honestly. I mean, even with the Volkswagen cars, you have to push the Volkswagen badge to open the back door. It's cool. Watch what happens every time I open the door. Now, when it comes to the door, the way it opens, it reminds me of Audi, because Audi would always have this system as well for certain cars. And then, of course, likewise, you've got soft close. Now, it should be noted that for the Bentley Continental models, every time you open the door, this side window over here retracts as well, and the window is frameless. Now, over here, we have a 4-liter V8 engine that produces 575 horsepower. Now, with the Bentley models, they always have the engine situated at the front, giving power to the back wheels. And this has historically been the case with many British luxury car manufacturers. They stuck to bread and butter basics. And the reason I'm pointing this out is because some car manufacturers have always stuck to the opposite theme, like the Porsche model 911, where the engine was always at the back powering the back wheels. Now towards the interior, this is where things get very interesting, because this is where we see the real Bentley identity. It has just evolved from the previous generation, and it's very good how they've gone about it. And what's even better is that there is no simplicity. You still have buttons everywhere, and this is great. Now I have to also wonder, for a price of 400,000 euros, the interior screams class. The interior is very nice. I'm very impressed with how they've gone about it. In fact, the electric seating adjustment is very nice, and I like the metallic touches you get on it to it, just like what you would expect to see in its segment, so like the Rolls-Royce. But then there's also something I have to wonder. This whole area over here, the buttons have a plastic touch to it. This is... The seats, they deserve credit, honestly. I think, and also having the Bentley badge there is my favorite. I always like having the Bentley badge on the headrest. It's really a nice way to go. Now when it comes to the Volkswagen Group, they have one of the best steering wheels. Now this is also the case for this Bentley Continental. I like the feel of the steering wheel, although I get the impression it's a bit on the thick side compared to what you would see in Porsche. It's very interesting. Otherwise it's good. I'm very impressed with the way it is. Again, but the multifunctional buttons, they have a plastic touch to it, and it reminds me of what I've seen across the Volkswagen Group. But I like this pleasant chrome looking wheel over here with the diamond effect on it. It's very nice, very pleasant. You see, it's very good how they've gone about this interior. And then underneath this would be your infotainment system, underneath this bit of the trim. So this is very good. The driving palettes are very nice. I like this metallic feel you have onto them. It's very good. But the driving palettes are very small though. You can only reach them from here. You cannot reach them from above or underneath. So if you were expecting a more sport-centric interior, it seems like Porsche and Mercedes AMG GT take the trophy. But if you're expecting a class-oriented interior, the Bentley Continental steals the trophy. It's amazing. It's really good. And then over here at the center, you have your start-stop button, and you can choose between driving modes. But then putting the start-stop button over here right at the middle is something that makes me a bit uncomfortable, because I don't like it being too close to the passenger. I prefer it being close to me. It has to be about me when I'm the driver of the car. But then at the same time, it's okay. And then over here, you get your glove box with this nice material onto the side. That's good. And then you get your central console storage over here. That's very nice, but it was a bit difficult for me to pull up, so I thought that I had to push a button to open it. This is very nice, with wireless telephone recharge. The boot space you get over here is average compared to its competitors, although I'm under the impression you get additional space on the side over here. So in some senses, I feel like there's a bit of an advantage when it comes to the practicality aspects of things for this Bentley Continental compared to competitors. So here's my conclusion of the Bentley Continental. The Bentley Continental model has seen improvements, and it is a great evolution from the previous model. It is great. It's very interesting how they've gone about it, but if I'm going to be very honest, there is just something about the Continental model that never really inspired me that much compared to the likes of the Bentayga. So don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment in the comment section your thoughts of the Bentley Continental, and let me know what you think of it and whether you prefer this over its competitors.